The first lesson earlier this morning was, trend lines, of course, the uptrend part. Now trend lines, let's get to the downtrend part, which we were just looking at one literally a second ago. Right, well, not this one, but with CLOV. And if I can just show you multiple times, CLOV. Look at that. Had one earlier. Here was a downtrend earlier. Broke it. Now here's another downtrend we're forming right now. And it's the same thing as trend lines going up. I mean, it's just the same, the same thought, just going in the opposite direction, team. The starter. Nice high of day push, right? Usually that's what's usually a downtrend is going to come from. Usually your high, not always, but a lot of the time from your high of day push. Then we have the second touch. That's where it's set in here now. Now we know this is your new resistance. This is a trend line. We come up to it. We're going to keep failing, right? Fail, 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 keeps failing. And finally, again, because, right, this is for the 15 minutes after the market opens, we can essentially where the starter of the trend line is created. We are now almost 2 hours into this trend line, essentially almost at least an hour, a good hour. We're an hour and a half in when we finally, because we can't, this is not going to go forever. Like trend line's up. 9 times out of 10, they're eventually going to crack or break either way, right? This one is more of it. This is a break because you're going up. You're breaking through resistance, a downtrend. But just like an uptrend, in the trend line up, same thing going down. Find your starter. Find your second touch, your second, essentially, bounce on the opposite side. Remember, if you just flipped over, this would be a great bounce. Look at that bounce off of it. Again, set it in. Love seeing these. Here's coin. I got back-to-back coin plays. Let's do a little coin flip. Coin, back-to-back plays. This was yesterday. Downtrend. Look at this. Perfect. 1. Here's your essentially your starter, right? 2, your touch, your first bounce. 3, here's where you can definitely get in if you wanted to for a perfect short opportunity, 1,000,000,000%. And look how it goes from 3 over 335. So about 337-ish, 338 easily, probably close to that area. When we fail, it pulls back all the way down to 320 if I can say that right. 320s though, the 320s. I was going to try to say 322, but anyway, about 322, 323. A huge drop, right? Beautiful. Again, just like a bounce where you were going to be bounces, this is where you can get in on your short side, but you're setting the trend line in there. That way when you come up to it again. If you ever do break it, hey, like deck, I'm okay, testing the trend line here again, downtrend, I'm going to go in short again. As soon as it starts breaking through like this, boom, you're out. You're out if you wanted to test it. Or, like J-Trades is just waiting for, wait for this to finally pop through, and you could have done the same. Boom, it's pushing through, I'm out, now I'm going long. Boom, then you're in long. Right? We surged literally from let's call it just 329, all the way up to 335 easy, 337, 338. Again, put the starter, first bounce / second touch, whatever you want to call it, it's in. Boom, perfect short opportunity. You're waiting for this to break if you want to go long as well, however you're wanting to look at it. Same thing here. Look how long this takes. And I put this in just to show you. An hour, a little over an hour into the market open. So an hour and 15 into the market open, and this doesn't finally start. And this is when it finally broke above. Remember, then it came back down and then settled here for a little longer. Created a lower downtrend. I took this a little too early. I wish I would have taken a different one. Again, though, look how it doesn't have to be just crazy. It doesn't have to be this to be a downtrend team. This can also be as it is. I know it's forming a wedge, but it's also a downtrend. Yeah, this is definitely a trend line. That's why we call it a wedge, because it's in between both, wedging tighter. But again, set it in. First touch. There's your second touch. Again, usually on the long side, right? Bounce. So first, starter right here. Here's your first, I should say the starter. Here's your first touch or your bounce. Your first is an inkling to go, got to put it in here now. Now look how many times we just come straight through and nail it. Upper shadow. Don't, of course, not there. That's fine though, but right to the top, right to the top, right to the top. Finally, we break out of it. And it was only a quick one, but again, look at that. Beautiful. Little double whammy here. Coined the first day. Trend line up. And again, yes, you're like, that trend line is just so steep and it just opened. You put a trend line in. Trend lines work on any play, any float, anything. It's a trend line for a reason. There's no, go look up trend lines and there's no like subtitle at the bottom that says, well, unless the play has this, this, and this, and it's no, or if it's a 3 million float, you can't do it. Or if it, no, there's none of that. There's no like asterisk at the bottom that says trend lines. Yeah, this is when you can't use a trend line though. It's just reading a chart. You're just putting a line in. You're not going, well, no, just put the line in. Keep it simple on yourself. And look how nasty this short was in the end. Trend line crack all the way down to 360 from 420. Whew. Again, okay, now We're down here wherever you did not get in. Now you're looking at it. Starter, somewhere in this area. Here's your first touch. Just continued down even more. Remember, this is where it hit 310. Remember this? Me and Deck just kept shorting and kept shorting and kept shorting. This hit 310. This trend line just kept extending down, finally overextended off of it. But again, set your trend lines in. They're so easy to see. VECT, beautiful. And again, yes, you can have multiple trend lines. I could have, again, put one up on the upside to show you where the resistance is. Keeps hitting all the way up. Boom, 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 all the way up. Never really clear breaks out of that, uptrend, the top of the trend line up, right? Your little channel. It never breaks out of the channel. And again, sometimes barely touches it. You got your starter. Okay, here's where it's touching. Got a couple more pure touches here. It needs to be in by this point for sure. It has to be in there. Here's where you could have easily gotten a great bounce. And then here. Again, sketchy area, right? It fully cracks, but then regains. Keep the trend line in. Keep it in. Deck would have kept it in. There's no point not to. Look how it holds it up and even tries to later on. Then look at your beautiful short area at the $34 mark down to 30 in a hurry. Read the chart. Don't overcomplicate it. Keep it simple. CG, I mean, these are all from recent too. Here's CGA. Another one from earlier this month. Could be later in the day. Makes a spike. Okay, cool. Put the downtrend in. Perfect. There you go. Play your stock. Play it. Just know when it cracked. And then again, not the best of examples of, well, that wasn't like the greatest buys. I mean, well, you're talking about a 10, 15 cent pop. Yes, exactly, because you have the VWAP right above it. But still, just, again, doesn't matter the play. Just put your trend lines in. Whether it's a downtrend, uptrend, put them in. Last example, VXRT. This is from February of last year. February of 20. Look at this. Of last year. That's 20. Over a year ago. It doesn't matter what it is, what play, what stock, what time. Doesn't matter the time, doesn't matter the stock, doesn't matter the float, doesn't matter the volume, doesn't matter any of that, team. No. Some people, I'm like, I want to yell at them. I'm like, no. Just put a trend line in. It's just as simple as a line. That's all you're doing. And traders are looking at the same thing. And look what happens when you push, break of the downtrend or crack of what? The trend line. You get a good short op, right? Let's get back to a good crack of a trend line. Doesn't matter the float. Look at the low volume, whatever. Price, don't matter. Put a trend line in. From $20 spike up to, it could be a $100 spike up to $300. Doesn't put a trend line in. Play the trend line. Hopefully that helps you out with trend lines, team. Again, try not to overcomplicate it. The more you do that in anything in life, I'll tell you that much, you're going to, have some troubles. You're going to when you overcomplicate things, keep it simple. Remember the KISS rule? Keep it simple, stupid. The KISS rule, team. I can't stress that enough. Again, downtrend. Now we're breaking out of it. Look how we're getting a small little pop, but then what? Up to resistance. Any last questions? Hopefully that helped out anyone that needs any help with trend lines and that for a fact, anything else over the next 5 minutes before we wrap it up on the day. Yes, hopefully you guys have a great weekend. About to close up shop here. Like I said, we'll keep it up. I'll put up the scanners here in a moment. Put up the news stream. Have that up for at least an hour, maybe 2 hours into the market close. After the market closes, we'll see how busy it stays. But yeah, hopefully everyone has a good weekend. Enjoyed today's lessons. Enjoyed the chat. Thank you for any newer traders that did join us today. It's been, again, it is a little bit slower time, but we will, and that's the great thing, knowing that it is slow. It's only one way from here, only one way to go, and that is straight back up to the crazy, crazy banana stage, which we will get back there.